I have a few questions I'll need to ask you as we start into the new year. Reports indicating a collapse in primary healthcare delivery in Nigeria and the brain drain that we continue to see. The NMA recently put out a statement that in December 2022, about 1,000 plus medical personnel left the shores of Nigeria. We also understand that in Nigeria today we have just about 10,000 resident doctors. So I want to ask, with the brain drain that we are going through now, how do we curb this? What is the fate of the Nigerian people?
The truth of the matter is that when it has to do with brain drain, doctors moving over there to Europe and also Middle East and the rest, the truth of the matter is that we are standing a challenge of a new world, which is something I want everybody that is involved in the issue of healthcare reform in the country and other stakeholders to be able to see the picture clearly. We are not having a challenge of a nuclear system. I said it over and over again, and I think it is time people may begin to understand this. If you look at doctors of 80s and 90s, a lot of them are here. The reason why they were here happened to be that was an era where a doctor graduates, he has access to options, as it were, the federal government establishment in teaching hospital, the state government establishment, or private option. So it based on what can this one offer me vis-a-vis, the other one. A lot of people play around that. But after 2000, the issue of GSM came in, and upwards you begin to have access to internet. And giving the opportunity whereby a doctor that graduates in Nigeria is not meeting that nuclear in-house market of a teaching hospital and the rest, is now having a global market to look at. Global marketing that a doctor in Nasarawa State can be there to know how much a doctor earns in UK and also earns in Saudi Arabia and earns in all the places. In comparison with what is obtainable here, and of course, the visa, of course, there's a liberal immigration policy. It is something that I may say, it may not stop as long as two fundamental factors are in place in any nation. Brain drain will never stop. The Honorable Minister of Health also admitted, which is true, that issue of brain drain is a global phenomenon.
It's not unique to Nigeria.
It's not unique. Some people even in UK migrate to Australia, migrate to Canada. Do you understand why? Because there's an adage that says that when a tree get to know that they intend to kill him, he will stay there. Do you understand? But when a woman being hears that there is a threat to his life, he will take off. That is to say that any nation at this point that has any form of economic depravity or being economic disadvantage will surely suffer brain drain. There's no two ways about that. Do you understand me? That movement must surely be there because it's an intellectual property. It can move alongside. All right? And second one, which nullify the effect of the first, which unfortunately we also partly suffering the same here, is that any nation that does not value, honor, and the reward patriotism will surely suffer brain drain of their best brain. Why? Because there are doctors, I can tell you, irrespective of whatever that is a talk about happening abroad, there are people that their heart, their passion is for their people. For their country. They want to see the country get better. That's why you see some of the requests they make. It's not that the request is so bogus. You understand me? Just give us an enabling environment. Appreciate our contribution. Appreciate our patriotism. You understand me? Yes. So any nation that don't have such patriotism as a value will suffer also brain drain for sure.
So in this case, why are the people in places like UK migrating, going to places like Canada and other places?
Yeah, this is something relative and also an opportunity for our own people to get to know. The issue that a doctor going into UK or perhaps is here, he press the system and see the amount of money a doctor earns in UK. He should also understand what is called take home. And after this take home, the bills you have to pay. So most of the doctors and most of the people you see that say I travel to UK, how many of them support their families? That will tell you how much they have in respect to the ones they have to be in position to give away. They are also suffering. Let me make it very, very clear for everybody. It is not also rosy there. That's why some of them also in UK, when they see an opening in Canada with a better or less tax,
they make a move.
Do you understand what I mean? So that's why most people are moving over to UK. They pay the money and they spend virtually that same money in the system. So, but our people are not told this. Just move first. That's why I challenge anybody that feels that, oh, Nigeria was a hopeless place. I don't believe in that. That Nigeria is hopeless. Ask them, how many of them, let them pack that money they got over there. Let us see the influence of it in their families, in their distance. So the issue is that let's make our home a better place to be, because majority of the doctors, I can tell you today, have a system that works in Nigeria. Majority of the doctors in Nigeria will return home. That's the truth about that. They are desirous because it is not well with them. It's a east-west. Home is the best. Forget about it. Let nobody deceive you with that.
Okay, Dr. Okoye, you mentioned the Minister for Health putting out a statement recently. In that statement, he also mentioned what the federal government intends to do to help salvage the situation now. He mentioned something about augmenting pay. He also said that they were looking into hiring some of these doctors abroad. Do you think that that's a good plan? Do you think that that's the plan that can work?
Actually, when a proposal is made, there are deeper dimensions of the proposal. So they have that as a plan, and we didn't give all the details. All right, so we just have to say, we can't say exactly it's not going to work or it's not. But the truth of the matter is that there is a fundamental challenge, and that fundamental challenge, we are talking about our economy in relation to what is obtainable abroad. So we don't stand a chance. If I use the word standing a chance, we don't stand so much chance if we want to do one-on-one marking. The reason is a register in Nigeria, you receive around 250 or thereabout, while the senior reg receives about 400 and something thereabout. Double it. It's still measured in dollar. It doesn't stand a chance. You understand what I mean? And when you are getting those foreign people, or how much do you intend to also pay them? So that's why I look at it is that promoting patriotism, there's those one available, we see how better, even not just about the money, even the working conditions. Do you understand me? Even the working conditions. Now, I have been privileged to be able to have a better understanding on being able to retain doctors here. Now, I have what could be described as the best hands. And I sent a number of them outside the country. Okay. Now, I took some time ago, both from BMH, UPTH, I sent them out. The last generation, they came back right now on the issue of endoscopic urological intervention. They came back. Now, that this very fellow came back, I'm the one who funded their training, their trips and everything. I will not have it. Yes, because he came back. Therefore, you must work either free for me or you should be working with it. Because he had understanding of how much somebody earns doing that kind of a business. So the fact is that our payment should be paid on value added to the system. If a doctor has a value, you should also be able to appreciate and motivate him the more by also having a package. Not when somebody comes back, you will not tell him, you see, you are in level 12.2. So you are meant to eat this salary because other people of your grade also eat this salary. You will kill that very zeal. You will kill that patriotic mindset. Let me come at least develop my people, support my other people. That's what I mean. So when they come back, I pay them not just like because I know or because I supported you. You are bringing a value, and the value is also in promoting the system. So you have something that should be able to say, "Wow, I'm also." So you see them, everybody thriving. That is the key thing that should be in position to be looked into. Is that there should be a restructuring of our payment system, particularly to the doctors. When I say this, sometimes you look as if, one expressing a professional egotism. But we must understand that the reason why you call a hospital is because doctors are there. If the doctors are not there, it's a maternity or it's a health center. Do you understand? So, and that value should be understood. And based on that, if these things are put in place, a lot will be solved, and that could be best solved, which may be part of what you're actually planning, the issue of private participation. So that's basically what I look at.
With all these possible solutions and mitigating problems, I'm still worried for your Vision 2025. How does that materialize?
Yeah, I will strongly agree with you now. Having a Vision 2025, where we strongly believe that by the year 2025, Nigerian life expectancy will move upward, up to 70 years, which is still about the global average. So I'm not too optimistic or too ambitious about it. You understand what I mean? While I admit the challenge of doctors, migrating, and also the issue of insecurity, limiting the availability of the doctors in a number of areas, I'm also very, very hopeful today by reason of an application we built called My Home Clinic. It is an application that downloaded the brain of a doctor, of a nurse, of a pharmacist, of a lab scientist. And as a matter of fact, not in the aim of eliminating doctors in the practice, but being able to bring home the medical terminologies, the possible clerking of these very patients right in the villages. Because if you look at universal healthcare coverage, it's talking about providing quality, accessible, and affordable healthcare to all and sundry. How would that be possible for those ones in the rural community? So making that application, which comes in a layman language, could help the patient to be in position to be clerked and also be submitted to the DSN. The most important aspect or the most beneficial aspect in bridging this very gap had to be with the issue of developing some of these hardwares, all right? And that's basically what has given us the hope that healthcare can still be available to our people.
So how does it work?
Okay. What you see here are the things that makes a doctor, and this is where the hope is. Okay? One is that we have right now a system, and this very system is called My Home Clinic, which enables even a non-doctor to be in position to clerk himself. The word clerking is all those questions doctors used to ask.
Yeah.
The system will ask those questions professionally, and the patient will answer it and submit it to that system. If the patient is in the village, for instance, it submits it. Now, these devices are being made ready in such a manner that to enable a doctor have a very good and professional insight into the state of that very person that uploaded his health queries inside that system. it will be in position, this can be available for those in the villages. Maybe in let's assume a primary health center, all right? And you have somebody that will just be in position to ask a woman, a man, you know, what is your name? You know, yeah, there's one we actually demonstrated, you know, when we get to from a village setting and from the city, we getting to ask those questions. So this particular application, now we've been able to develop not just only the hardware, but the algorithm that should be able to take the information on this, on somebody you place here, the air entry into the lungs of this very fellow, the doctor anywhere in the world, we hear it. The heartbeat of this very person, the way the heart beats, boom, 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 or having any murmur, while right there in the village, in the house, or anywhere in the world, if a doctor in the city or any place, I mean, yes, could be in position to hear it. Wow. All right? So, and this is a doubler. A pregnant woman could be in position to put this over the tummy, and the heartbeat of the baby, which most time may have issue with that because there's no doctor there, they will be, those babies will be gone. The mother will start having crisis. Those maternal mortalities we could be in position to address. Yeah. So once this is done, he send the message to the doctor in the city under that my home clinic. All right. And even this also, that this is what you see here. This is a BP apparatus. Oh. Yeah. So if you put up this BP apparatus here, now I'm talking about in a village setting. All right. You put it on and you check out the BP. You put the second one, the information gotten will be transmitted remotely to the home clinic. Yeah, to the home clinic of any doctor that have it in his own phone. Yes. Now, having been able to establish that, it means that the doctors that are out of the country, they are not really out. As a matter of fact, I have a lot of friends in the United States that could voluntarily say, okay, for the people in my community, let me give you an hour. Yeah. Or those ones that could say, okay, you can just be paying a little time, you have a doctor, please be part of this to be able to help those that in the communities. There's a mistake. Government may not depend only on the few doctors available to them. It could be possible that other doctors could be part of that particular decision, because once the information is loaded inside, the next thing is that for the doctor to see the traffic of people in a particular place and just click on it, it will open up a video conferencing. But this is the beauty of it. The video conferencing this time around is no longer doctor just talking, because most times a doctor and a patient language don't flow. All right? Yeah. Because if a doctor is talking to a patient, the patient is trying to explain, look, this my tummy started paining me since 1982. The doctor is not saying, okay, what are you saying? He said the thing will move up. I said, doctor, wait, let me finish. So the doctor become a little bit more impatient. So at the end of the day, the patient will not read the doctor well. That's what is obtainable in most telemedicine abroad and all that. So now we have bridged that gap. The patient gets him or herself clerked in the professional way so that the doctor will not miss out anything that will help him in making diagnosis. Now he has all those other parameters with him. The patient, all those things done and transmitted remotely, so the doctor now picks a call. Hello, how are you, madam? I can see that you say you had chest pain, and that very pain goes to the back. Madam will be saying yes, and this other one. So it's getting the doctor direct question, and the system now helps the doctor to make the differential diagnosis and looking it at a setting in a village. We have an opportunity where we could be in position now have what is called community chemists. You get that? In such a way, the doctor having confirmed that, he send a button, the drugs go to the system over there in the village, and they go to the community chemist and pick it up. All right? If there be a need for investigation, those things can also be told, and they will upload it, the doctor can view and ask you, please do the needful. Do you understand me? This system has perfected and brought down that fear I had over the survival of our Vision 2025. Come on. Before next year, everyone in line with universal healthcare coverage could have access to professional healthcare that is accessible and also affordable for everyone.
I think this is fantastic. I used to imagine that with telemedicine, that one of the biggest challenges was the physical examinations doctors needed to perform. But it seems that with these things,
it has bridged the gap.
It has bridged the gap.
Yeah, so, and that is most vital. You know, if you get to some northern communities, you will not see a single hospital. I'm not talking about doctor now. We are talking about doctors. Some northern communities, when we were doing our map and all over, don't have a single hospital. Some of them, you have one place called a health center. Nobody is there. What is the fate of these people? Do you understand?
Doctor, let me quickly ask this here, because I understand how this works, and I think it is a fantastic idea. But then at the back of my head, I'm thinking, how do we work this in with the issue of internet? We're talking about remote communities and far-flung villages. How do we have this work in areas where you don't have internet?
Oh yes, I agree with you that could have been the fundamental limitation, a major limitation as it were, to this reaching out to the remote communities. But by the grace of God, that was solved. I happen to have I did a study trying to understand why most times you see our doctors in this side of the world, we set up a hospital and the hospital will die within their lifetime. So when I discovered that about 94 hospitals in America that are over 100 years old. As a matter of fact, Pennsylvania Hospital is 1751. It's almost over 200, only 270 something years now. So you look at it and say, what could be, the possible factors, is in favor of the hospital lasting generation upon generation like that. While in the course of that, I also pumped into seeing a number of hospitals in the United States also shut down. Majority of which in rural communities. Do you understand? And it made me just also a concern, because those people that are there, it's either for them to have access to healthcare, their insurance premium has to be high, and a lot of other access to emergency care and all those kind of stuff. So then it was done on me that their experience is the experience of our own people here in the villages, then as rural communities. So while I was talking, I just brainwave idea and inspiration came that with the aid of radio frequency, I could be in position to transmit a bandwidth of internet that is in a city down to the remote village.
Using radio wave? Using
radio wave. Because radio frequency could run as much as 100 kilometers, while microwave can go a little more. So when I came back, I started attempting that. Don't ask me the number of times I failed. But the good news came out that I did that radio frequency synchronization, and I discovered that the same internet I use in my hospital, I use them same. I don't pay extra internet in my house. By reason of synchronizing the radio. I say, come on. If this can work, therefore, that most of those communities, if I put on it, so that's why you see us erecting some mass. Yes. So if I put it on here, I can transmit a very good bandwidth of internet here down to a locality. So obviously we may need to rent some of this because to be building those mass. So that has already been worked out, and we test run it and it worked. So the fact remains that healthcare can be made available and accessible to that fellow in the remote village. It's absolutely possible in our time. So, and that's why I am strongly confident that our Vision 2025, life expectancy of Nigeria increasing to 70 years irrespective of the prevailing factors, I can only tell Nigerians today that, yes, it's quite painful that the doctors are running out of the country, but we are not living in hopelessness. 10,000 doctors, resident doctors, for over 200 million is already a tragedy. It is a tsunami, as it were, in the making. But thank God that this is actually available, because I can call God an African man. You remember when Melinda Gates made an assertion that dead body will litter the streets of Africa because following
COVID-19.
COVID-19, yes, but God had mercy on us.
This is a truly fantastic, unique innovation you have here, Dr. Okoye. But how are you going to make this available for everyone? Are you hoping that investors will be part of this? Is that what you seek?
Yeah, I admit that it is a noble innovation, So I did the software in the United States, but I have this very desire to make it an African brand. And that's why we are looking forward launching it big time in Nigeria, even when it has to be exported over the US as time comes. But for now, we are trying just to move on the aspect of the advocacy, because we are looking forward to actualizing the vision of universal health coverage, which was actually anticipated to happen in 2030. Okay. But by the grace of God, I will say that it is available in 2022. Yeah. But that will also require some level of, advocacy, spotlighting on some of these things we are seeing today. Because if you do the universal healthcare coverage advocacy guide, he also pointed out in the chapter 1, subsection 2 of it, that when a development like this happens in any country in the world, it should be spotlighted. Okay. So that's why I did this innovation, the software we developed in US, but I want it to become a brand of Africa. So we are looking forward, obviously, for collaboration and the partnership with the state governments, some private sectors, some also some companies that will look at their community base, the issue of enhancing their telemedicine communications and all those kind of stuff. So to a very large extent, I think just like you came now, also spotlighting what is really happening here. That is also what I think the stakeholders in the healthcare industry should also come on board and be able to say, hi, how could we be in position together to be able to get this to all the local communities and the environment that will actualize our very vision.
You must agree with me that this is a great solution for the problems we have in Nigeria. This is a call for private investors. This is the great opportunity you've been looking for. This is a time for you to plug your money where your mouth is. Nothing better than this great solution that we have unveiled today. So next time I have this conversation with Dr. Richard Okoye, I'll be hoping to hear the different areas where these great solutions are being plugged into. Thank you so much, Dr. Richard Okoye, for this fantastic innovation.